Good evening, everybody. We welcome to today's very short noticed meeting here. It all began with Ravi Ranjanji coming to Hyderabad, and Monica ji, as usual, takes the lead and moves up. So we are here to talk about the current global situation of how the war has taken shape between Israel and the Hamas. I'm very cautious in saying about Israel and Hamas and not Palestine. So the speakers here are very eminent. Hanuman Chaudhary Garu is there. Ravi Ranjan himself is a worldly known person. Monica Reddy will sum up. I just want to know what is that you have come here for? Maybe some small interaction with you all. What is your expectation? Why have you come here for? And we wholeheartedly thank all of you who came here. So if we know what is the expectation, maybe the league will shift its gear into it. So volunteers. Brief and crisp.
In one word, I would say in one word, a perspective on the current crisis. That's all.
Anybody else?
So we know the problem, how the problem has started, and what is the solution, where it is going to end, and how we can be, as a country, as a nation, as a culture, we can protect ourselves from such kind of things in the future.
Yeah, good evening to all. In fact, I am dreaming since the war started. Did somebody stand up in Hyderabad city and organize a program in support of Israel? Personally, I wholeheartedly support Israel in this war. Just I want to know the other developments.
So, I have come here. I am Nand Kumar, senior journalist. So, I have come here to learn a few, what do you call, points from the eminent speakers. So, if I am in such a situation, how do I react? So, that's what I have come here.
Hello, good morning. I am Rupinder Singh. Namaskaram. So, I want, I came to know from you all, speakers especially, that how if we are faced with the situation in which Israel is today, how we are going to react in future, and it is from the current situation in our country, it seems that we, India, after 50 years, 100 years, is going that way. So, what could be the possible? Yeah. Thank you.
Jai Mata Di, Namaste. I just want to tell, when somebody says good morning to me, I say, what is good in morning? Yeah, fine. Actually, I just want to know, after Pakistan and division also, Hindus are not awakened. Why? What can we do to awaken Hindus? That is my question. Yeah. Rajesh Shetty. Yeah.
Hey all, Rishikesh this side. I would like to know, I'm here to understand how this would affect the globe, so for all other countries, and what would be India's learning in this case, because we always have such a prawn from our neighboring countries. So that is where I'm here. Thank you.
Namaskar, my name is Ravi Kiran. Namaskar. So, in the media, when I follow the media, I find that the narrative is totally divided. The Western media is sort of supporting Israel, whereas the Indian media is sort of scared to say anything openly in support of Israel. And I find many of my colleagues openly supporting Palestinians, or say how they are justifying the actions of Hamas. I want to find at least one reason whether they are, if they are correct in their perspective or not.
Set like that. I'll just come. Your good name is, sir?
Hi, namaste to all of you. I came here to know will this Israel and Hamas conflict will lead to third world war? Will this Israel and Hamas conflict will lead to third world war? And I think I want to know like there is a conflict between Israel like to build third temple and Al-Aqsa Masjid. So is that any cause I came to know?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Raja Bhaumik here. Uh, we, yes, uh, actually, India has got multiple Hamas in the making. So therefore, we represent Israel. So how do we counter that? Thank you.
Swachh Namaskaram Andi. It's a pleasure to see Hanuman Chaudhary Garu. He was associated with my father, Mr. G.S. Kumar, a long time ago. My name is Major Shivakiran. I was in the army earlier, and I'm also here at the invite of Ms. Monica. And the narrative, as some people were saying, we've all grown up watching the sympathizers with Palestine. So there's a lot of confusion. Even in army groups today, the verdict is a little split. I'm trying to understand what's the situation. So I'm here to just understand and get a maybe real kind of perspective.
I'd love to support any country fighting and suffering from terrorism, but I would like to know, jitna hum pyar dete hain, do we get the same thing back from the others? If when there is a attack on Poonch or Pulwama, do Israeli WhatsApp groups or whatever groups, do they have this level of interaction? Because international relations are already there, but there should be work based on reciprocity. I want that. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Prasoon. There are 2 points of consideration. First thing being that Israel has helped us in the Kargil war and the other wars when many other countries did not come to support us, including USA. And in such, that's one point we have to consider. And the second point for consideration is we have multiple Hamas, and how do we deal with them? How has Israel dealt successfully with them in the past? And what can we learn from Israel and implement?
Very crisp and clear. People are a bit confused to start with, and they are also inquisitive to know what they can do if such situation arises in our country, though it's not new to us. We have been there. We will go ahead with the discussion. I would invite Monica ji to take it over from here. Thank you.
Namaste and welcome everybody. This is by far the first program with the shortest notice that we have ever done. The program got conjured up at 1 o'clock, and that is thanks to Ravi Ranjan Singh ji, who was visiting Bhagyanagar and was heading to Bidar for a very interesting event that was to take place. But then the external affairs ministry intervened. The program is not taking place, so their loss was my gain. And knowing that just before arriving in Bhagyanagar, Ravi Ranjan Singh ji with about 200 people led a protest, actually a support protest for Israel in Delhi, to submit a letter which was written in blood to the Israeli embassy. And as is the case, they were detained, some of them were arrested. This was on the same day when the JNU protest for support, the support march at JNU was happening for Palestine. The people here, his team, got arrested, detained for taking out a protest march. But then, as I said, thank you, Raviji. Why don't you please come on to the dais? Raviji is the founder member of Friends of Jews, FOJI, Friends of Jews and Israel, and works very closely with some people in Israel, trying to share their experiences, our knowledge, and our experiences with them so that we are prepared. I will come back to why we need to be prepared as I talk later, but then, yes, I am very specifically with a purpose using the word that so that we are prepared. So kindly please take your seat. Ravi Ranjanji, most of you would know, has been Aham Talks guest speaker earlier, and he has spoken. He leads the fight against the halal economy. He calls it halalonomics, and he's a front runner against the halalonomics and runs the Jhatka certification body. All this he does from New Delhi. Our next very distinguished speaker today is Dr. Hanuman Chaudhary ji, uh, Padma Shri awardee, an exceptionally 80 plus year young, 92, but I thought he was 80, sorry. Okay, 92 plus 2 days young. He doesn't want to be called old. It's always an honor to listen to Dr. Chaudhary. He is a walking, talking encyclopedia. Lots of times when I'm at around his house, I take the liberty of going, sitting with him, listening to him. I mean, and every time I have been to his house, I've only seen him read, and read more, and write too. Yes, and write too. So thank you so much, Chaudhary Garu, for accepting our request to speak at such a short notice today. Our third speaker is Cheruvu Rambabu Garu. He's an activist, a supporter of Dharma. He calls himself a Dharma Pracharak. I asked him that, tell me, what is it that I should refer to you as when the poster was prepared, and he said, just call me Dharma Pracharak. So he is, apart from the work that he does, he's an entrepreneur. Apart from what he does, he is dedicating the rest of his life and time to serve the cause of Dharma. Thank you so much, Rambabu Garu, for supporting me. I have seen you always in the Aham Talks programs, just that you slowly seem to emerge. You know, every time I look at my audience and I'm like, oh, this person, I see him every time in the program, but I may not know the name, but I know that there's so many people who are supporting the work that we are doing. And Rambabu Garu is one of them. So we will start now. We have this program going live. There will be people watching us from all across. There are people watching us from Israel too. Ravi Ranjanji has alerted certain organizations there who would be listening to us. In that context, I would request that we all maintain decorum and also civility in the language, and also be cautious that we are being watched by the world. I will take my seat now. A lot of times everybody asks me, why me? Why have you started the live? Okay. I wouldn't say a lot of times people, in fact, my own children, my son asks me, what's with you, Amma? Are you some kind of an extremist? What are you doing? You know, today's children, today's generation, US educated, US employed, they think that this is out of the bounds for a normal mother. And I always tell him that, Nani, I have nightmares, and I do. I have nightmares not being anymore in this world, and you running for your life, and some men chasing you just because you don't follow their faith. And that scares the daylight out of me. I want to be able to impact this world and leave a world where you, as my child, are going to be safe. Until such time, we have ideologies that are promoting hate. We have ideologies that are promoting violence just because there is a religious taboo that ideology carries against other human beings. I think it's not just Israel. It's the rest of the world that is fighting this ideology. I never believed, I don't believe that the Israel and Palestine conflict is about land. It was never about land. Just as Kashmir and Kashmir's fight was never about land. What we are dealing with is a greater threat. It is not a fight for land, it is a fight for supremacy of a certain ideology over a certain piece of land. And it will be this land, and after that, once this land is conquered, and God forbid, it will not happen. But if ever that land is conquered, then it will be the next land and the next land and the next land. I think the world has to rise and awaken from its slumber and stop referring to this strife in Palestine as a fight for war. Fight for land. It is not about land. It is about the supremacy of a religious ideology over a certain people who do not believe in that ideology. And that, I think, is the truth. And that's exactly the fight, I think, that we in India, we as Indians, we as Hindus are also fighting. The civilizational survival struggle that our brothers, sisters, the children in Israel are facing is not any different from the civilizational fight for survival that we as Hindus are facing. Their fight, in fact, I think, is lower, lesser, and newer in its intensity than ours. Our fight has been longer. We have a lot of lessons to learn from Israel, and I think parallelly, Israel has a lot of lessons to learn from us too. We are a hardy people. We are those people in India, the majority Hindu population, that after years, centuries of subjugation, of genocide after genocide, we have survived. We continue to remain the largest democracy largest majority in this country today. And I think that Israel can learn a lesson or two from us. Also, just as we have to learn from them. It is not easy living your life, waking up knowing that somebody is vying for your blood. Imagine if you were living in Israel. Imagine if you knew that each day your child is going to go out, but you're not sure whether he will return back. And that's only happening because there are certain people who believe that they have a sanction, a religious sanction, to have you exterminated from this world. This is the context to why I felt that it was extremely important for us to show solidarity with Israel. I personally, as a mother, as a woman, as a citizen of this world, condemn violence of all kinds. I condemn violence against women across the world, whether it is a Palestinian woman or an Israeli woman. I condemn violence against children, whether it is a Palestinian child or an Israeli child. But I do not believe that this war is about land, and I think that needs all the support that we can give because it has as much as a right to survive. The Jewish people have as much as a right to survive as the Muslims do, as the Hindus do, or any other a religious denomination does. So I would like to now hand over the mic to Dr. Chaudhary, and I would request Dr. Chaudhary to set the historical context to this strife between Israel and Palestine. Yes, sir.
नमस्कार. आप सब बोलिए नमस्कार. Not good evening, good morning, etc. First lesson that we have to learn to be Indians is to say namaskar and not good morning, good afternoon, etc. etc. Friends, Hamas has been characterized as a terrorist organization by the 27 nation European Union, Japan, and several other countries, a terrorist organization. And it has vowed that Israel will be wiped off the face of the earth. It will be wiped off the face of the earth. Now, there was what was called a Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. It was founded by Arafat, who was born in Egypt. He was a civil engineer and he founded the organization Palestinian Liberation Organization. What is this Palestine? In the first century of the Christian era, all the Jews were expelled from what is now called Palestine. It was a Jewish state. Jew and Israel, these were the two kingdoms there. They were dispersed. They were repeatedly rising against the Roman imperial rulers. So Rome thought it is better to disperse them, remove them from that land itself, and disperse in all the countries over which Rome was having the overlordship. So that was called the Jewish diaspora in several countries. They were to be eliminated completely by Hitler during the 1930 to 1945 May 7 when he died. So all the Jews were captured from the countries that were conquered by Germany and Italy, and they were sent to gas chambers. 6 million, that is 60 lakhs of Jews were thus gassed and finished. Now, under Turkey, you see the Ottoman Turkish Empire, Turkey was having an empire just like the Mughals were ruling India. Turkey was ruling over a vast territory of the North African countries from Morocco to Egypt, all the countries in between, Central Asia, and of course Arabia, etc. Now, in the First World War, all of these people rebelled against Turkey. Turkey is an Islamic country, language Turkish, and whereas Arabs, different race, they are not Turks. Their language is Arabic. Only thing common was the Islam. Now, under Turkey, this was a province. Palestine was a province. In the First World War, Turkey was defeated. The empire was dismantled. Now, since then, the Jews were wanting to come back to their country, that is Palestine. And during the Second World War, there was a what was called a Balfour Declaration. Balfour was the foreign minister of United Kingdom. He said His Majesty's government will consider very agreeably to create a homeland for the Jews that are dispersed all over the world. So they started coming. And by 1947-48, when the Second World War was over, about 1 million people came from all over. There were always Palestinians. This is the history, brief history of Palestine. The United Nations declared in 1947 to create two states, the Palestine for the Muslims and Israel for the Jews. 1947 United Nations resolution and Jerusalem as a United Nations mandate. It should not belong either to the Muslims or to the Jews, but it should be a mandate administered by the United Nations. No Muslim country accepted. Half a dozen countries, Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, Jordan, all of them invaded. But the Jews repelled all of them and their state came into being. One thing, the first resolution that after the establishment of Israel, the Knesset, that is the parliament of Israel, the first resolution that they passed was Ben Gurion was the president, thanking India. Thanking India. The first resolution of the independent state of Israel established in 1948 was to thank India because every other country persecuted. It is only Bharath that gave them safe refuge And in Matancheri near Cochin, the oldest synagogue remains. It was constructed in the first century AD. The prayer hall, their prayer place, like our temple, is called a synagogue. So the first resolution Ben Gurion passed was thanking India. Then the question came whether India should recognize it or not. In the cabinet, Dr. Abdul Kalam Azad, the education minister, opposed the recognition of Israel by independent India. What was the reason? He said that if we recognize, the Arab countries will be against us. There is what is called a 62 nation Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC. 62 Islamic countries. All of them, every year, they condemn India for occupying Kashmir. Now, it was only P.V. Narasimha Rao who recognized Israel's having an embassy in India. Until then, until 1992, we had only a consulate in Pedder Road in Bombay for Israel. So this is briefly the result. It was after P.V. Narasimha Rao came in 1991, he gave full diplomatic relations. Not only that, he said Bharat should not look west. Bharat should look, anybody can say, Bharat should look east, because Bharatiya Sanskriti culture is there in the east, in Thailand, in Indonesia, in Cambodia, in Vietnam, in all the Thailand, in all these countries. So, as far as the Arab Muslim countries are concerned, not Arab, Muslim countries are concerned, 62 of them, they are always condemning India. Friends, Israel was to be wiped off the earth. That's what the Arab countries thought. In 1967, before Egypt, because Nasser was saying, I will wipe it out, I will Soviet Union and the communist countries. So Israel preemptively destroyed all the air forces in Syria and Lebanon and Jordan. It was called the 6-day war. Before the aircraft could come up, now all almost in 6 days, all the Arab countries were defeated. Together, Iraq, Jordan, Egypt, Syria, all of them were wanting to attack Israel. So that is 1967, wonderful war. But what happened afterwards? 1983 there was, 1973 there was another war. It was called the Yom Kippur War. Most precious day, most holy day, holiest of the holy days for Jews. They were all in prayers. They were all in prayers. The army was almost just, they were all at new home. And the armies of Syria, Egypt under Nasser attacked the what is called the Yom Kippur War in 1973 October. Madam was the prime minister. What is her name? Golda Meir was the prime minister. There were only 60 tanks. Why I'm mentioning this is what happened to Israel's valor. There were 60 tanks manned on the Golan Heights. Golan Heights like that, and Israel is like this. And 600 Syrian tanks attacked Israel. 60 of the Israeli tanks were able to withstand 600 of them. And anyway, that war was won by a great general, Sharon, Ariel Sharon. 5 lakhs of Egyptian soldiers were wanting to enter into Gaza, Israel. So they said, first we will defend the Golan Heights because they are at the height and Israel can be wiped out. So you concentrate there. So what Ariel Sharon did was he found out in a night how to cross the Suez Canal. He crossed and surrounded 5 lakhs Egyptian army. No water, no food, no nothing, etc. and they sued for peace, lay down your arms and the uniforms and walk off. That's what was that. Anyway, these are the type of valors. Two or three more things that I would like to tell. In 1976, a Air France carrying about 120 Jews was hijacked and landed in Entebbe, capital of Uganda. And that was 1976. The Israeli Mossad organized a rescue operation, landed there and freed all of them, killed all of the captors. That was a great thing. What happened to that type of valor to Israel now? Another thing, there was one man called Eichmann. He was the man who put 6 million Jews in gas chambers and killed them in 1935 to 1945, that decade under Hitler's rule. He was hunted. He was hunted, and they found him in 1960 in Argentina. They pocketed him, lifted him, put him in the aircraft, brought him to Israel, tried and hanged him in 1960. What happened to Mossad? How is it now that Mossad has failed to anticipate or to find out, to smell that this attack on Israel is going to happen? Now, take for instance the Twin Towers in New York, 2001, September 11. They were human bombs. These Saudi Arabian pilots smashed the aircraft into the Twin Towers. 2,996 people died in that building. 2,996 people died in that building. Now about 500 people are dead in a hospital by a misfired Hamas missile itself. 2,996 people were deliberately killed in that one. Take India, Bombay, 2008. The terrorists from Pakistan came and occupied Taj Mahal Hotel and other things. What has happened in Israel today is exactly the replica of that. They went into in a hotel and civilian homes and caught them as hostages and killed them. Now, what happened to our intelligence? What happened to US intelligence? What happened to the famed Mossad? These are one of the things is what is happening in Israel just before this event. Netanyahu was fighting the High Court, Supreme Court. There are two countries in the world which do not have a constitution, written constitution. One is United Kingdom, no constitution, written constitution. The second is Israel. So the Supreme Court judges in Israel are giving all types of judgments. So he controlled them, and there is a big controversy in that country, and it is that which has lulled them, Lulled, lulled them into complacency. Same thing is happening in India now. It is in the birth that is about to arise, the conflict between the Supreme Court and the government and the regional parties which are talking of federalism, which there is no such word in the 395 articles of the Constitution of India. There is no single word like federalism. So something is happening here in India also. Why I am mentioning this is we have to beware that if there is an internal dissension, our security, our intelligence may be imperiled, and there may be some sudden attacks. Now, what is happening in Israel? How did Hamas come into being? You know, there were what are called Camp David talks between Egypt's Sadat, he was the president of Egypt, Sadat, and and the Begin, the Israeli Prime Minister under Carter, Jimmy Carter, the President of the United States of America, in what is called Camp David. For 13 days, the negotiations went on. Finally, it was Sadat recognized Israel, signed a peace treaty. Jordan and Egypt are the first two countries which signed peace treaties with Israel, saying it has got a right to exist, and then other countries followed, etc. Now, those accords, that's called Camp David Accords. The next event, most wonderful event was 1993 Oslo Accords. Oslo, capital of Norway, in that Yasser Arafat, who founded the Fatah, that means victory. So that organization first vowed to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. There was what was called an intifada, first in 1988 and afterwards in 2004 or so. Intifada means insurrection of the Palestinians. So in a special session of the United Nations in Geneva, Arafat declared that I want peace, no more wars. It was followed by what are called the Oslo Accords, establishing a Palestinian authority. First time a Palestinian government was recognized under the West Bank, whatever was under occupation, and the Gaza Strip, which earlier was under Egyptian occupation. So Gaza Strip, which is 365 square kilometers, 41 kilometers long, 6 to 12 kilometers wide here and there, etc., with a density of population of about 7,000 people per square kilometers. India's density is 460 people per square kilometers. That is 7,500 people. Of course, we have got Dharavi. Its density is 4 lakhs per square kilometer, 4.5 lakhs per square kilometer. Anyway, that Gaza. So, when the Palestinian Authority was established, in 2005, Israel pulled its army and settlements from Gaza back into Israel. In 2006, there were elections in the Palestinian Authority consisting of the West Bank of Jordan, of Palestine, of Jordan River, and Gaza. The Hamas won the majority of the seats. Hamas won majority of the seats and declared, I don't recognize this Palestinian Authority because it is making peace with Israel, whereas I want to throw the Israel out of into the sea. So Hamas became the majority party, but confined to Gaza. And from then onwards, it has been waging all types of war. Their missiles are supplied by Iran through Syria, and nowadays even North Korea is supplying the missiles to Hamas. North Korea to Russia to Gaza. That's what is happening. And so, friends, this is the background. So, what do we notice? Failure of the famed Mossad, their intelligence arm, which so far, Mossad has destroyed an Iraqi nuclear facility by sending aeroplanes at about 200, 300 meters above the ground, undetected by Iraq. And it is called Fight Against the Sun. And it destroyed the nuclear facility that was in the making. Then in Iran, the uranium is to be U-235 and 238. 235 is fissile, 38 is not. So centrifuges, which Iran was having hundreds of them, now this time Mossad did not send any man. It put a what we call in cyberspace a spyware, and it disabled the spinning, and they went out of control and destroyed themselves, just like one of the Rakshasas in India who put his hand on his head and he died like that. How did Mossad fail? And what is that lesson? India failed when Bombay was attacked by the Pakistanis. America failed when the Twin Towers were destroyed. So if there is what is called Murphy's Law in communications technology, which says if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. So something can go wrong, and therefore it has happened in case of Twin Towers, in Bombay attack, and now. Now, what is it to be done? Does India, who is on whose side? They are terrorists. In the 19th century, there was a William Gladstone, who was the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom in 3 spells, 4 years each. In the House of Commons, he took that holy, I won't say Quran, and waved and said, as long as this book exists, there will be no peace in the world. As long as this book exists, there will be no peace in the world. And in India, we have got what is called the Calcutta Quran case. That is, some 80 ayats in the Quran, they spew venom and intolerance and incite theologically. If you are a loyal Muslim, you should hate others, you should kill others, continue jihad. Now Hamas has declared a jihad. That is, don't lead a miserable life on earth. If you kill the kafirs, that is non-Muslims, you go to heaven. So all those riff-raff who are having a miserable life, for them the choice is to go to Jannat, that is heaven, kill the kafirs. So that is what they have declared. And this is happening, gentlemen, not only in Israel, not only in Palestine. Just now there is a book which I was reviewing. When the population of Muslims increases from 2%, 5% to 8% to 10%, what will happen? So by the time they come to about 10%, there will be any number of innumerable communal riots, which India has been a victim. So what is happening in Israel, the Hamas has declared jihad, which is supported by Iran and Syria, and it is worse than ICIS, that is Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. They were doing, some of them recruits from Kerala also went there. Anyway, that if you have read that Kashmir files or rather seen that one, would have noticed. So to summarize my submission, this is part of the ongoing war inspired by the theology in the Quran, inspired by the theology in the Quran, the theology of hatred and the example of beheading of the 3 tribes that were expelled, that were exterminated in Medina, in Medina by Prophet Muhammad. The 3rd tribe, 800 Jews were lined up, dig a trench, and under the presidency of Prophet Muhammad himself, they were all beheaded. Those people who were beheaded had to dig their own trench, dig their own graves, and somebody will come and cut and throw, come and throw. He sat there from 7 o'clock in the morning until evening. He saw a beautiful woman and said, her separate. Of course, he wanted her to marry, and she said, I won't marry. If you want, I am helpless. You may keep me as your concubine if you want. She refused. But anyway, that's a different. What I'm saying is, the template has been set by Prophet Muhammad himself. The theology in Quran is imperialistic, and a number of those ayats which is spew intolerance and incite jihad had been become a matter of in the High Court of Calcutta. That's called the famous Calcutta Quran case. The judge was a Maharashtrian lady, and from the questions she was putting, it was clear that she was going to ban the Quran. Then Jyoti Basu appealed to the United Front government. They all came. They transferred that lady judge and put a communist judge there. And communist judge said, these are words of God. How can men sit in judgment on that one and dismiss the case? That's called the Calcutta Quran case. So, friends, this is a war that is going. Islam is not a religion. It is a tool of Arab imperialism. There are any number of books on that one, and that is what you take, for instance, Salman Rushdie. Salman Rushdie in 1980s, the fatwa was given to behead him. Recently, a few months back, one Muslim in America wanted to kill him. Can you imagine that one? That is the type of hatred that is there, instilled from childhood from madrasas. And in India, please be warned. I'm reading so many things in that by 2047, India will be ruled by Muslims only. This is the unfinished agenda of Islam. Nothing is wrong with Muslims. Everything is wrong with Islam because their theology is that one. So what they are saying is by 2047, the organization that was banned, PFI, Popular Front of India, it was preparing for that one. We shall first rule through surrogates. For example, West Bengal's chief minister, Telangana's chief minister, Bihar's chief minister, and of course Kerala has been from the beginning, since the birth of the communist parties in India, they have always been with the Muslim League. So now already a few states are under surrogates, Muslim surrogates rule. As Congress has weakened, the regional parties have come up. Dr. Ambedkar, in his wonderful famous book of 1941, he has said India shall be divided. All Muslims shall be sent away to Pakistan because in any case no Hindu and no Sardarji can live in Punjab. So Nehru did not agree, Gandhi did not agree. So we are left with no province which is now part of Pakistan ever voted for the Muslim League. It is only the Muslims of what we call India, they voted. They created Pakistan, not the Paki Muslims. They started supporting Punjab. It was a unionist party that was in government, unionist party of Sardarjis and Hindus and Muslims. Sir Khizar, Hayat Khan, etc. In Sindh, some other word, I forget the name. So what Ambedkar wanted did not happen because Nehru wanted the Muslims as bonded voters in this country, which they are. As long as Congress was strong, they were voting for them. Now it has become weak, so therefore they are voting for the regional parties. They are voting for the regional parties. The latest in our state is that Owaisi has said, every person who is denied a Congress ticket, I will give a ticket. He will give a ticket. So friends, the prospect is, unless Hindus wake up, we will be divided by caste, and by 2047, in fact, Owaisi says that a lady, Muslim lady will be the prime minister of this country, and that will be facilitated by the dynasty regional parties who are talking of federalism. We are in the post-Mughal era in India, post-Mughal era, just like Nizam declared independence in 1724. Similarly, every ruler declared independence, and one by one was conquered by the East India Trading Company. So the lesson from what is happening in Israel for India is that unless Hindus see the peril that is looming, the 2047 will happen. Now, our intelligence agencies will have to be strengthened, and I was listening to him. He is going to tell something very great. That is, if somebody is wanting to divide India, why does not India die to divide the other fellows? So I
Thank
will
you
stop
so
at this.
much.
I will be happy to take questions after all of my friends have spoken. Dhanyawad.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chaudhary. I think we have a very crisp sum up of the historical incidences that have led to the current crisis in Palestine. I would be requesting Ravi Ranjan Singh ji to sum up what's going on currently. Where is this current war headed? Who are the players in this war? Ravi Ranjan ji works a lot with several external agencies and has information that I think will benefit us in terms of the different players that the rest of the world doesn't know are active in this war, and what your perspective on this is today.
Thank you very much, and organizing it at such a short notice. Rather, you were not prepared, and I was also not prepared. But it's, I think, God's will that we are all here. I have learned a lot from him in few minutes. So his experience and knowledge, and uh, I think after that, I'm rather scared because he has already revealed everything of history, and that is what is relating to the present scenario. Uh, about 1 year back, uh, we came with an organization that is FOJI, Friends of Jews and Israel. First thing we did, we had a seminar at a place called Dasna, that Yati Nursing Saraswati ji, now he's Yati Nursing Giri now. We had a session there, and the topic was jihad, love jihad, how Israel deals with it in Israel, a lesson for India. That was the topic. And of course, we have got a lot to learn from a tiny country. Maybe that is population is less than that of Bhagyanagar, so or surrounding areas. The first thing we did is we have written it to the to Honorable Prime Minister. India recognizes 7 communities: Hindu as a majority community and 6 minorities. That is Muslims, Christians, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jains, and Parsis. So I want support for that, and we have proposed it to the government that let Jews be recognized as the 7th majority. There are nearly 5,000 Jews. Of course, there are more than 10,000, but nearly 5,000 declared Jews, because some of them fear prosecution. So at least we have 5,000 declared. And when we come to statistics that are not very clear, but it is something like 600 Jews under 40. So all the benefits, it's a symbolic benefit, but a gesture which I believe it's a gesture towards Israel and Jews, because we need them more than they need us. And recently, some Jews, they were thanking me. I said, no, it's my war that you are fighting. So no, please don't thank me. It is my war that you are fighting. So I'm thanking you for that. The second thing we did, uh, that is, we have moved a petition in UN. That is in 1988. Synagogue was dismantled, demolished by state of Pakistan, state of army of Pakistan, because every country has got an army, but Pakistani army has got a country. So, it was demolished by presidential order of Ziaul Haq. Ziaul Haq, as a brigadier, he killed more Palestinians than Israel killed in the war. So the same Pakistan is now standing with the same mindset, with the same general. In the queue, the same generals and the descendants of the generals, because Pakistani army, rather to say it's not a Pakistani army, it's a
it's not Pakistan, it's Punjabistan, where 80% of the army and 90% of officers are from Punjab. So it is also some internal dispute that we were discussing, uh, that Baluchistan and Sindh. Sindh, of course, Sindh Assembly passed for getting merged into Pakistan. But Baluchs were an independent country and they were invaded. And the invasion took right after King of Kalat came to India, met Mr. Jihadi, Jawaharlal Nehru. I know why I always I misspeak it like Jihadi Lal Nehru. So I'm sorry, he's Jawaharlal Nehru. That's what we call him. So Jawaharlal Nehru, immediately after that, there was broadcast on All India Radio that the king of Baluchistan has come to merge with India, and India refused it. And that's what led to the invasion. Maybe invasion was still there, but I mean, that fastened the invasion and the king was arrested. So in fact, we were here to support Balochistan, and now the prime minister of government in exile in Balochistan, she's in India. Of course, she has got her own limitations because of protocol and diplomacy and international relations. So that is one thing. So that is what we were discussing, that if it is separatism, if it can be spread to India through Pakistan, it can also be done vice versa. So that's what we are into. And the second thing what we demanded about the synagogue was that since Pakistan claims itself to be a democracy, so this synagogue must be restored and protected by Pakistan. Well, it's not something strange. Many synagogues, churches, gurdwaras, mandirs, and even masjids have been pulled down. But the strange case here is that there was no claimant for that land. Like Ram Janmabhoomi case, yes, there was a claimant and there was a counterclaim. But in this case, there was no counterclaim. Even Muslim refused to take the land. But army went ahead, and now there is a mall standing on that synagogue. So if it was a dispute between mosque and the synagogue, things would have been different. But this is simply to snatch them and to wipe them out of Pakistan and then out of world. That was the out of this from this earth. The second thing, now right now, what we are doing, a couple of days back, we went to. In fact, it was an initiative of Yati Maharaj. We had a long session, and then he went to. He was about to set to go to embassy of Israel to express solidarity in a letter written with blood of his disciples and his blood, of course. Then he was manhandled. He was stopped from reaching the embassy. And there were about 200 people. Then finally, it was requested that, okay, only let 5 of them go there and present the letter. But they were not permitted, and they were not arrested. They were nearly abducted. And we were abducted, and we were brought to Tilak Marg police station. And the DCP there said, give it to me, I'll hand it over. We are not sure what happened to the fate of that blood written letter. So right now, coming to the situation, well, there is a lot of support by Palestine for Palestine, for Hamas or Palestine or whatsoever, or for rather to say for the Islamic world. But unfortunately, there is no support for Israel. There has been no gatherings, no meetings, and I think she is the first one to hold this meeting throughout the country. So we need more like this, and we also need on-road show of strength, because if we don't do that, that means we are half dead. That's what it is. Second is, now there is a lot of hue and cry about an attack on hospital. That's unfortunate, or rather, any attack is unfortunately, any loss of life is unfortunate. But at the same time, since I'm working for Baluch, Uh, 2 years back, 500 dead bodies were found on rooftop of a hospital, civil hospital of Multan. And all 500, the body organs were removed from all 500 people. So that is that's an army which is harvesting, which is in the business of organ harvesting. And I'm really afraid about fate of the people who are in the custody of Hamas or whatsoever name we call. So we also need support to for their safety, their security, and India must do some something to protect them. Well, government has got its own power and also its own limitation. But we, as a civil society, I think we are better equipped to handle with such equations than the mighty governments on the courts. Sometimes, when I'm working for Jhatka, people say, "Aapke Modi ji kya kar rahe hain? Aapki court kya kar rahi hai?" Well, Modi ji is not my Modi ji; he is country's prime minister. I've got no special connection or relation with him. But let's do something. हम क्या कर रहे हैं, that is more important than what courts are doing. What मेरे को, I have to do my own karma. So my karma right now is to support Israel. And Monica ji, I expect after this seminar we have more shows. Well, it is all show of strength what they are doing. We need to come openly come in support of Israel and pursue others to do so. So while I was taking some notes while he was speaking, it's nice to have, I feel elevated sitting next to him. That is, all of us should go through a book called Understanding Muhammad. I know how many of you have gone through that. So, and then there is a YouTuber, Dr. Wafa Sultan. What Wafa Sultan says, and I learned a lot from Dr. Wafa Sultan. She says she is a Syrian and now settled in US. Says there's nothing good Islam, bad Islam, political Islam, this Islam or that Islam. There is only one Islam, and that is Islam. And that is exactly what Muhammad practiced and preached. And Sir has already enlightened us what he practiced and what he preached. So we must be ready for that. And well, Iron Dome fell. I think it the other way around. Had it not been there, what would have been the fate? So it is one thing. It couldn't defend fully and properly, but with this advanced technology, we are depending too much on technology and less on human intelligence. So this is something. There was a film, Hollywood film, Planet of Apes. So that's all about that how apes could overrun a well-established advanced state because they had all the system to stop laser guns. They had all the system to stop nuclear attacks, but they had no system to attack to stop sticks and stones. So this is a lesson we have to learn. Let's not be very, let's not be too sure about army is there, air force is there. Army and air force is not going to be here in each and every street corner. I have to be ready myself. So what happened in Israel is happening in India right now, and it has been happening for years. This is only at this for last few years, the scale has not been as high. So we are really, it's like slow action. So there is slow reaction, but the action is already there. And regarding coming back to this thing, minority majority issue, Muslim population is going to take over Hindu population in few years. The graph is going to cross. So what benefits a minority is getting, Muslims are getting as a minority, say for a child is getting admitted into a school. and getting all the benefits. And by the time he's doctor, and then he needs, then he's there to serve the society. But the man, the child who has been promoted as a minority, or rather given privileges as a minority, will be representing a community which is already a majority. So the benefits will be reaped 20 years after, but the statistics are of the day. So it is wrong to say that they are a minority. They are second largest majority. So second largest majority, uh, when we come to this Israel and all this, one thing is very uh, clear, that is, between US and China, US is scared of China and China is pretty sure of its strength. The reason is that anything I'm talking, it is my mobiles, was talked between me and you, they can always have access to it because of their technologies they are commanding. Same is with the US. But luckily we are fortunate enough that unlike US, in US, yes, technology or mobiles or whatsoever, it is all, China has got access to all this. But in US, there's also one problem. Uh, that is, the Chinese are there in every research center, every university, and every technology or every policy that is being made, that is being traded. The photocopy comes to the White House, and the original is in the China. So that is the problem they are facing. Fortunately, yes, we are dependent on mobiles, which China has got the access, but fortunately in our universities or research center, there is no Chinese. But at the same time, if Indian agencies, they go to Pakistan, they have to do some homework, some spade work, and a risky work. But the situation of Pakistan is entirely different. They don't have to really send their men or implant this thing. And this is where they failed, because they were also too dependent on their uh, community, Muslim community. And information was shared through them. So this is the present scenario, and they are in this fix. And right now, it is not only our duty. If it is, they call it their holy duty, then it is my holy duty to protect Israel. It is not merely my duty, it is my holy duty. Because if I fail today, that is, nobody is going to protect them. So I feel Israel and Jews, they are fighting my war, not, of course, it's their war. And I like to conclude. I think I was not, maybe I have went some it was off track, but still all these things are integrated. Thank you.
Thank you, Raviji. We will get back on some very important questions on the role of
Ji.
Iran,
Ji.
Biden landing in Jerusalem, also Hezbollah. I think there are some very important players that are not in the limelight. Iran has, of course, Iran's role in the current war is established, and the international media is talking about it. Hezbollah's support to Hamas is a given. It is happening, and also the role of US. So we will have Rambabu Garu finish his talk, and then we will come back on to these points too.
Sabhaya Namaha. Honorable Hanuman Chaudhary Garu, Ravi Ranjan Garu, and the host of the evening, Monica Garu. Should we continue in English as they have said the president, or should we go in our mother tongue, Telugu? Either way is fine. I am okay with every language.
Rambabu Garu, because there is a live telecast and there are people who don't
Okay.
understand Telugu, so we
So,
will continue in English.
Day before yesterday, I did a talk on the YouTube on my channel Satya Bhashyam, against which I received some threats that you will be booked under 154 IPC because you are trying to generate hostility between communities. These things are quite normal. The topic of the day, what is that we have to learn from the Israeli war to our context? And when we have just introduced ourselves, most of the attendees of the evening, we are all talking about Israel war and what we should do. It is a bit disappointing. Why disappointing? Because we had Hamas in every city where the population of Muslims is more than 16%, 1/6. Hyderabad is infested until 1984. Every Ganesh Chaturthi, every Durga Navami, we used to have the problems in the old city. If that is not Hamas, then what is Hamas? Now, we have seen the most brutality in Israel when 10,000 Hamas terrorists, I am reiterating the word, Hamas terrorists, entered the homes, dragged them out, slit the throats, old people of the age of 80s, women who are pregnant, the children who are as young as 6 months. They were all taken as hostages to them. And the pregnant women were slit open from the stomach, and the small baby was pierced to death. The same things, if you recall, 1946, Razakars, under the siege of making this as Osmanistan. They didn't want to go to Pakistan. They wanted this land to be Usmanistan because the Nawab of Hyderabad was Usman, Mir Usman Ali, and he wanted to create a separate country for which he sent a representation to UN after the Second World War. Thanks to our good fortune, September 17th, the movement of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, we should thank him through the bottom of our heart. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this day to talk about. If that was not Hamas, then what was Hamas? So we all have engrossed into our own families, our own lifestyle, our own earnings. I would call, you may want to scold me after that, I would call we are the most selfish community on this planet. Hindus are mostly selfish. They don't even bother about what is happening the next door. Leave about your Sanatana Dharma. In 1988, when the Rama Janmabhoomi movement was catching up, Hindus were all getting together. The central government was smart enough to reveal what is called as the Mandal Commission, to divide us among the reservations and the backwardness and the Muslims and whatever. Today, you will see the same thing happening. From Bihar, it is already started, which has been caught up by your young leader at 54 years, Rahul Gandhi, who says this election will be only on caste and only on caste. Jiska jitna bahumat, uska utna hoda. That was his statement. So, gentlemen, you should understand what is the difference between Israelis and us today. Israelis, they gave a call on the early morning after the Hamas attack. 3 lakh soldiers have represented that country. And the population of that country is 90 lakhs only. Out of which 12.5 lakhs are Muslims. And some are atheists. But they all stood by the land and the country. Because they love their religion so much that they stood by them. In India, even if we go and attack Balakot, our opposition wants proof. Proof. When the country has called it a war, the immediate past Prime Minister of Israel, he said, I am going to fight the war for my country. That is the opposition unity they have. And I want to satirically correct Ravi Ranjan that he said Muslims are the second largest population. No, they are the single largest population. Why? Because I am a Chaudhry, I am a Brahmin, I am a Reddy, he is a Mala, Madiga, Kummari, Kammari, and all that stuff. And none of them are Indians. None of them are Hindus. This is where we stand divided. This is where we are the easiest sitting target. The Sikhs in this country are just 2.5% or 3%, 1.7%. They have contributed their might to this country. And Parsis are 0.17 to 0.18%. They have contributed to this country. So today I was supposed to do a video about Lankhanam Paramaushadam. Fasting is the best medicine for any disease. Why so? If you saw the second day after the attack of Israel, people across the world started supporting Hamas. Even in India, we are no less. Our students from JNU, our students from AMU, and our own students at the backyard, Hyderabad Central University, they all have come in support of Hamas and the Palestinians. I may want to support Palestine because all Palestinians are not Hamas, but all Hamas are Palestinians. We should understand the difference between it. If the Prime Minister has spoken to the Palestinian Prime Minister, I welcome it. The humanitarian help, I welcome it. But I am not supporting Hamas. Why am I talking this? Terrorism in any form is terrorism. When they cut a woman into 36 pieces, they say Allahu Akbar. When they rape a woman in front of the public, they say Allahu Akbar. So as Ravi Ranjanji and the most learned Hanuman Chaudhary said, the theology is at fault, not the Muslim. The Muslim who read the book is following it. Let me also take you back to the Direct Action Day, August 16th, 1946, Calcutta. Massacre on the streets of Calcutta. 30,000 Hindus. Go one step back, 1905, when England wanted to rule Bengal, which was a 13% highly spoken language at that point of time, they wanted to cut a line saying East and West Bengal. 1905, what happened? Hamas attacked on Hindus, both in East Bengal and the newly formed West Bengal. If this is not Hamas moment, what are we waiting for the Hamas moment? Just 3 years back, CAA. 400 stabs on one constable, that Sharma. He was brutally stabbed 400 times on his body and he was thrown in the gutter. The templates remain the same from 1875 to our knowledge in India to yesterday when the tailor Kannaiya Lal was beheaded at his own shop. I am trying to bring a resemblance and our understanding. Chaudhry Garu has said Hamas has failed, Mossad has failed in understanding the movements of the Hamas. Why? Every day morning at the gate, they all stand to work for the Israelis. They want their money, they want their food, they want their clothes. And all these people go rush to their homes, have their food, clean their homes, and understand what is happening in their homes. Cheap labor. Palestinians have no food to eat in their land. But they have to live. If they have to live, they have to work with you. If they have to work with you, there's no secret in the house for them because they have to clean the house. घर पाचा करो, वो सामान इधर लगाओ, ये सामान उधर लगाओ. This is what we tell them. And they understand everything. I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Not only Delhi, your own house, our own house. So, in the want of the labor, we are employing anybody and everybody without understanding who they are. Kannaya Lal's next neighbors, they were also tailors. They are the ones who told this is the fellow who uploaded the Facebook about Nupur Sharma. And they gave a warning. They came under the guise of customers and he was beheaded by their own hands. Why? Your own next neighbor is their sleeping cell. Our own homes, around the corner of your homes, please realize observing what areas. We all want to, we are giving them work. No, they are like serving you for their betterment tomorrow. One small example I'll tell you of how loyal these Muslims are with their owners. This is the Agraharam at Kapileshwaram temple. The children of all our children would have gone to America, Germany, wherever they are earning. We feel proud. And our parents are at home as old as 92. So, two couples who had a driver for 30 years, Ahmed, with them, and they took care of him properly for all the 30 years. Their children have gone to America and they were like funding this couple and the household there. This Ahmed's son was educated by this couple and he became a graduate. One day, the father and the son were going with them, traveling, and the son has overheard 3 crores cash in the house. We should get it deposited in the bank. That evening, these two were dead, the cash was missing. So, this is the loyalty that our servants have with us. Understand, this is not our magnanimity, this is our helplessness to employ them because of cheap labor. This is one common thing between what happened at Israel 10 days back and what is happening in and around our houses. And we just said they have 56 countries. The modus operandi for them is the other day, around 6 years back, we have this Padma Rao Nagar. One Brahmin family wanted to leave the place. They want to go. They have put their home on sale. That time they were asking about 66 lakhs. One puncher fellow round the corner, he came and said, I'll give you 75 lakhs. Please understand. Do you have 5 minutes more? Okay. Because I know that the time is a constraint. So 75 lakhs, then somehow these people wanted to bring it to 70 lakhs. Ultimately, the puncher fellow took the home at 75 lakhs. First house, they give you good price. Second house, also they may give you up to 70 lakhs. After that, small irritations, small fights, their communities will come, attack, and you will be forced to leave your homes. This is the same template how they conquered that 56 countries. This is the same template if you go to Vijayanagar colony. If you go to that Asif Nagar, beyond that Venkatramana colony, earlier they used to be Hindus, prior to that Brahmins, and then Hindus. Now it is all Muslimized. Mehdi Patnam, Gudimalkapur. These are the templates. We are somewhere trying to protect our false ego. That is their advantage. We are not like standing by our own families. Leave your next neighbor. So, gentlemen, this is a wake-up call for us. Leave your varna. Leave your caste. First say that I am the Sanatana Dharmi. First say that I am a Hindu. And please be aware, there are people living around the masjids. Please go to them even if you know them or you don't know them. You stand by them. That is when we can protect our geography of Hyderabad and Secunderabad. Then comes your state, then comes your country. First is our neighborhood. So the similarities which we have to learn from them is even if it is costing less, even if it is costing more, even if it is costing more, employ your own known people from your religion. They may pluck a fruit here, they may pluck a branch here, but they would not cut your roots. And whenever you are, what I wanted to talk about, Lankhanam Paramaushadam, Harvard University, all the billionaires of Jews, they have withdrawn the scholarships from the Harvard University. And they have caught hold of those boys who got the offer letters from them for the employment. They said, since you are supporting the terrorist activities, I am not giving you the job. I am withdrawing my offer letter. Mahindras have our seats in Harvard. Pyramids have the seats in Harvard. Reliance have the seats in Harvard. Why couldn't they stop the funding when the Hindus were being humiliated in that country across the globe by them? Mahindra, చెప్పానండి. So these are the people who are like funding them. Stop that funding. लंखड़म, पैसे काटो, सब अपने आप घुटने पे आ जाएंगे. तब तक वो पैसे आप नहीं काटेंगे. अपना पैसा किसको दे रहे? वहां पर मौसम्बी बेच रहा होगा, एक बुढ़ी औरत होगी, वो तिलक लगा के वो बोलती है 5 रुपए के एक पीस. बाजू में वो टोपी लगा के वो बैठा होगा, वो 3 रुपए में एक पीस देता है. It is our natural tendency to get the 3 rupees. I would say, think twice before you spend your money at the marketplace. How this money will be transformed and come back to kill you, come back to attack your rights, come back to attack your properties. So, gentlemen, I'm happy to see at least 45 faces, 50 faces who think about themselves leave the country. हम क्या करना चाहिए ये सोच के तो हम आज we are here to at least say that I am understanding the situation. So as Ravi Ranjan ji said, just after the Dasara, we will call for a day where we will take participation from Dharna Chowk, maybe until P.V. Narasimha Rao's statue at Indira Park or whatever, in solidarity of the Hindus and the Sanatana Dharmis against the terrorist in any form. And I appreciate Monica ji, when that useless fellow, Stalin, had spoken utter shit. I'm sorry to use the word, but he has uttered abuses against the Sanatana Dharmis and gave a call to wipe them off, like how Hamas have given a call to wipe off the Israelis and the land, the Jews and their lands. She was a lady who took all of us. She took the initiative to call at the Dharna Chowk on one Sunday afternoon. It was pouring down, but 250 people stood by her, and we all heard what we have to do. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your patient listening. If I have gone off the track, I would ask for apology, but I'm happy to go off the track also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ram Babuji. There's just a small thing. I think that two things I have very differing views on, and most times I differ with all the speakers. I do not believe that we are divided. I do not believe that we are divided. And I have a reason to say that. You see, you wouldn't have lasted as a civilization this long if you would have been divided. No Jaichand was born because he let go of a secret, or no traitor was born because he was a traitor based on caste. It was always greed for money. If there is a problem with us, it's about greed for money. I don't think it's about caste. Today there are 4 of us. Do you realize there is a Cheruvu Rambabu Garu, and there is a Chaudhary Garu, and there is a Singh Garu, and there is a Reddy Garu. There are all of you out there. And this is what represents us as a nation. And I think that's what we have to be proud of. We are constantly being beaten up by this very narrative that we are divided because there is a caste factor. Politicians divide you for caste. Politicians divide you for votes. But how many of us today believe in caste at all? How many of us are hiring our mates based on which caste do they come from? So I think that it's time that as Hindus, we give ourselves a lot of positive reinforcement that we are a very, very evolved people. We are a very evolved civilization. Caste was not part of our structure at all. It was imposed. Yes, it does exist to some extent. We have to get rid of it. But no, that's neither anything that divided us, and nor is it going to be something that's going to divide us forever. What is going to divide is money. And money has constantly been the factor. And that could also be because maybe for about 1,000 years, we remained poor. You see, all our riches were taken away. So it was a struggle for survival. And that remains in our DNA, where each one of us is struggling to survive. That's the first thing. The second thing I think is what we have to do is, again, reinforcement of our own people, and not really be focusing on dividing them. They are already divided. They have as many castes as we do. They have as many number of different sections as we do. They're killing each other. The recent bomb blast that took place in Pakistan, where a Shia mosque was blasted, you hear of it every 3 months. There was no Sangh over there, there was no BJP, there was no Hindu, there was no Hindutva terrorist over there doing all of this. It's going on. We don't have to do much to them. They will destroy themselves anyway. I think we have to consolidate ourselves. I've missed, I said I had 2 points. The third point I have to say is also this, that you may decide not to hire somebody who is ideologically vying for your blood. But what do you do with a government that invites the Pakistani cricket team to this land, makes it play, and in the hotel in Ahmedabad has our Hindu girls dance for them? What do you do about such a government? So how long will the civil society take the burden of fighting for this land and fighting for the Hindu civilization? Because we've always fought. I think it's time for this government, the current government, to show up, to stand up, and to protect the Hindu cause. We also have to do, I do not deny what Ram Babuji has said to be false, but I think it is also time that all of us ask, what is this government doing for us? You don't want to hire somebody who doesn't belong to your caste. You don't want to hire somebody who doesn't belong to your religion. But here is a government that is inviting them. You've heard about the Lulu Mall? Okay. Whether it is the Telangana government, whether it is the central government, what are our governments doing? And isn't that a question that all Hindus have to ask, irrespective of your political affiliations? If civilizational existence is what is primarily important for you, an Israeli government will not do that. Why put the onus on an Adani or an Ambani or a Mahindra to withdraw the scholarships or the chairs that they're funding in Harvard? Why isn't our government doing anything about it? Hindu girls are getting picked up day in and day out in Bangladesh, in Pakistan. What is our government doing about it? Why hasn't our government nipped off any kind of relations with these countries, demanding that until our temples are restored and until our population, the Hindu population, is respected and given equal right for life, we will not have any further relationships? Why can't our government do it? Why is it only our fight? So I'm not going to go shy. I am not going to mince words. I'm asking this current government, whether it is the Telangana government or the BJP government in the center, tell us, what are you doing for the Hindus? Because we don't see anything. Ram Mandir has come, yes. Ram Mandir had to come. That is one thing that is something that probably we can be talking about. And there's more that I would like anybody who wants to say that something has happened for us, please list it down for me. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me what more happened for your survival, for your family's survival, for your children's survival, for your future, because nothing is actually happening. Going back to the topic that we are on, and this, I think also whatever I've said is very, very related to the current topic of discussion, because at least the Israeli government protects its lands.
it protects its people, it protects its borders. Look at how porous our borders are. What are Rohingyas doing in Devabhoomi, Uttarakhand? What are Rohingyas doing in Jammu? How did the Rohingyas even land there? Hyderabad to Hyderabad to so isn't it our government's responsibility to protect our lands, to protect our borders so that we are protected? Whose responsibility is it? I think it's time we started asking that. Going back to a very interesting question that I have, and I would request any of you, Dr. Saab, Dr. Chaudhry Garu or Raviji, what is Biden doing in Israel? Biden? Biden.
He is supporting Israel
Well, so I
fully.
think it's the first
fully.
time that
It is the only country which is supporting fully. No doubt about it. But let me tell you one more thing, just a second. Israel has a problem which we have. It's Muslim Arab population. For the first time in the history of Israel, a Muslim has become, an Arab Muslim has become a minister in the cabinet, just like the Democratic Front, YPC, etc. Now their population is now 18%. No, wait. In India, in 1951 census, the Muslim population was 9%. What it is now? 20%. Mr. Modi himself has said it is 17.7%. Himself has said that 17.7%, it must be more than 20%. So, what the Arabs and the Muslims are saying is, we may have a bomb, but we have a womb. What does the womb do? Womb produces children. So you have bombs, we have wombs. Now, a few more facts. Why did a Muslim become a minister in Israel? Because the society got divided. The society got divided. That's why all these things are happening. Now, in some already this rule by surrogates has started. That's what I have to remember. Now, Israel's regard for India, a World Marathi conference was held in Israel. The the Jews who were there in the Maharashtra, they went back to their country and there they formed a Marathi association and the World Marathi conference was held in Israel and they hosted it. And in the Tel Aviv Hebrew University, Telugu was introduced by my intervention. Of course, Hindi is there and so many Indian languages. That is the regard that they have. The United Nations conducted a world dialogue about religions. Swami Dayananda of Coimbatore, he went there, he made such an orator just like Vivekananda, then all were considered, all were impressed. Israel invited him and they apologized for any intolerance towards Hinduism and said Israeli Hebrew society and Hindu society should work in unison.
We'll take a few
Yes.
questions. Yes, please.
Okay. First of all, thank you so much for that enlightening discussions. All the three of you eminent people have mentioned that a problem somewhere else is also our problem in some form, right? My worry is not about us. My worry really is about the next generation, right? Madam just mentioned that she could not control her child, or rather, she could not really influence her son, who is American educated, who wants to be like an American. For lack of a better word, ma'am, they are called coconuts, right? Brown from the outside and trying to be white from the inside. My worry is about that. We have already seen, if you go to that side of the city, Gachibowli, or, you cross Haripatnam, it's all that. Unfortunately, I decided that I will be in Nalakunta for a simple reason. Um, so, from you have seen, Chaudhary Garu must have seen the degradation of nationalism from your generation to the next generation to our generation to, you must have seen it, right? And where do you see that and how do you stop it there? That's my problem.
Now, just Muslims go to the masjid on Fridays. The Imam is telling them what is Islam and how Muslims should politically behave. Similarly, Christians are going to their respective churches. There are 84 sections that were different Christians. The pastor is telling them something about Christianity and also that we should how to overwhelm the Hindus in this country. Now about Hinduism, who is a Hindu? Do we, there is no instruction at the home. Instruction in the schools is banned. Secularism, not in the house, not in the school, not in the temple. Because the Archaka only is reciting some mantra which he understands or not, we don't know. But we certainly don't understand because we have outsourced our bhakti to the Archakas. There is no. That's this is what I'm. You don't have respect for your father and mother. How do you expect for respect for the Archaka? And I have given him money to do puja on my behalf and invoke the blessings, etc. Therefore, if Hinduism is to survive, we have to have congregational prayer. That is, just as a Muslim congregation goes to the mosque and Christians, you take Hanuman. He is worshipped both by Brahmins, by Harijans, by Kammas, and by other fellows. Let all the Harijan, the Ishta Devata, all those people who worship Hanuman go to the principal Hanuman temple in that town, and then you have a pravachan, just as the Imam and the pastor is giving aspect of Hinduism and politically how you should behave. After pravachan, prarthana samuhika together. After that, prasadam. Then I come out, I am a Hindu. I enter there as a Kamma, as a Naidu, as a Reddy, but I come out as a Hindu by this process of congregational prayer. This is what I am urging. No, I have been in correspondence with the people in Telangana. That is, are we to convert the Archakas into Prabanchakas, or if they are incapable, shall we create a cadre or not? So, congregational prayer is the only thing that can build a Hindu community, not otherwise. Not in the school, not nowhere is Hinduism taught. Not the mother and the father, they also they don't for time. So how can Hinduism survive?
Namaskar, sir. First of all, let me congratulate male-in ladies, Monica Madam, for conducting with full guts of this program. Being Hyderabad, I am very proud of her. He is the first lady in India, perhaps, organizing this program.
That is Nari Shakti.
Yeah, that's what Nari Shakti. We should feel ashamed. But we will have full support to Monica Madam. Whenever she organizes any program, we'll stand with you, Madam. There is no problem. I am, out of some people, I am one of the man who put in my Facebook page, being Sanatani, I am supporting Israel.
Hereafter will call her Manikyam and not Monica. She
Of
is
course,
Manikyam and not Monica.
I have one or two observations, sir. All these two and a half hours discussion, we have, I feel, we have discussed more about our safety. But one of the important topic is Israel and Palestine war situations. No doubt we discussed. We could have given little more importance to that. And what is our stand towards Israel? From government side, public side, we are not against Palestinian common people. either with Israel common people. We are against terrorists of any country. That is our stand. Number two, for your kind information, out of 5,000 Jews living in India, I can proudly say we have 15 families in Guntur district of Andhra Pradesh. Jews are living. Still, they are maintaining their culture, Hebrew language, and prayers and everything. We should congratulate them. And they're very perfect in our Telugu. That is happening in Guntur district. Recently, 3-4 days back, we got one video from that place. So what I feel, so we should stand with Israel. We should stand with justice. God bless them.
Very good evening, Manas Sai Kumar. Like my question is here, like how to Sai Kumar. Sir, like my question is how to eradicate casteism in India, and is there any plan like about that? And my second question is why like Biden funded to like a Gaza also. Biden has funded to Gaza. Why? Is there yes? Is there any double standard with Biden?
Yeah, we need to have another session on caste. What is your understanding about US's role in all of this? And that's another question I'm constantly, thank you for bringing that, because what's happening is very interesting. I don't think Mossad failed. Yeah, I just have this to say that I don't think Mossad failed. I think there is something more than that meets the eye on what's going on over there. And I think this was a planned effort to finish Hamas once for all. Few
Okay.
citizens, little loss of life, yes.
About his question about why Joe Biden has funded Palestine also. Today, Indian government, Modi also has spoken yesterday afternoon to the Palestinian government and said we will continue the humanitarian aid to it. We are not saying all Palestinians are rogues or terrorists. Some of them are Hamas, not everybody are Hamas. So there is a human angle to what they are doing. The same thing as what the other gentleman from Guntur said, the common man in Israel. So it is a humanitarian thing that we have to extend, because we need to understand 56 countries belongs to the Islamic people, and the Middle East stability is important for the world also. So that's the reason they are going a bit tightrope on supporting both Israel and Palestine as well. Hope I have answered your question.
One more thing, a number of Muslim countries are trying to make peace with Israel. That's called the Abrahamic Accords. Saudi Arabia also is about to recognize Israel. Already UAE and Bahrain, they have recognized. So worldwide, the Arab, some of the Arab countries which have sworn enmity to throw out Israel out of existence, they are making peace. That is affected now. That is temporarily stopped. That is the Muslim, Saudi Arabia fall, because Saudi Arabia is Sunni and Iran is Shia. There is rivalry between them, and Saudi Arabia wants Israeli military assistance against Iran. These are the international ramifications. There is one Dr. Bhaumik here. Okay.
सर मैं हिंदी में पूछूं? एक्चुअली मैं पुराने शहर से हूं। और पुराने शहर का क्या हाल है आप लोग जानते हैं। वहाँ पे ना कोई कानून है, ना कोई व्यवस्था है, हाँ, ना पुलिस की चलती है, ना बल्दिया की चलती है। जितना भी हो MIM की, असदुद्दीन की या उनके चमचों की चलती है, कॉरपोरेटरों की चलती है। ठीक है। अभी हाल ही में परसों एक बच्चे ने जो है पोस्ट किया, हिंदू धर्म के ऊपर मुस्लिम बच्चे ने पोस्ट किया, उसके पीछे 50 बच्चों ने पोस्ट किया। तो हमारे पास जो है मुरली नगर में हमारा एक बच्चा, उसके उसमें प्रोटेक्ट में एक पोस्ट डाला, वो अल्लाह के ऊपर पोस्ट डाला, पुलिस उसको पकड़ के ले गई, हाँ, उसको जेल कर दिए। उनके तरफ से बच्चे भी जेल को गए, पर उनके लीडर, उनके एडवोकेट, उनके जो क्या बोलते हैं सो पैसे जमा कराने के लिए जो आते हैं ना लोग, वो लोग सब आए, हमारी तरफ से एक जना भी नहीं आया। हमारे को आज अपील करना पड़ा कि बच्चे को छुड़ाने के लिए, 2 बच्चों को छुड़ाने के लिए जो है व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में हम डाले कि 20,000 रुपए भरना है, एक जना भी नहीं आया उसको छुड़ाने के लिए। हाँ, फिर दूसरी बात, जितने होटल हैं मुस्लिम, सब में हलाल लिखा हुआ रहता। हलाल का मतलब पूछा मैं, थूक के खिलाना है। अत्तापुर में 2 होटल में पूछा ये क्या है भाई हलाल, बोले तो नहीं साहब हमारे पास है, वो जो बकरे को काटते हैं उसको हलाल। मैं बोला वो नहीं होता, सही सही बोलो क्या है। वो लोग जवाब नहीं देते, हम लोगों को थूका हुआ खाते। हाँ, कुक्कड़पल्ली में लल्लू माल खुला, वहां पर पूरी हिंदी बच्चियां हैं, पूरे मुस्लिम बच्चों को एम्प्लॉय किया गया। ये इसके ऊपर कोई हमारा ना लीडर बोलता, ना कोई हमारा नेता खड़ा होता, तो हम कहाँ जाएंगे साहब। रोड पे लड़े तो मुसलमान के पीछे 100 जने खड़े हो जाते, हिंदू के पीछे एक जना भी नहीं आता। क्वेश्चन जो है लीडरशिप होना सर, एक्चुअली कोई हिंदुओं को बचाने के लिए लीडरशिप होना, हमारे एडवोकेट होना बच्चों को बचाने के लिए। बच्चे जब आगे आएंगे।
डॉक्टर भौमिक को देना बिफोर, आप देंगे आंसर या मैं ले लूं?
Not only the leadership, sir. Even if you go and see in the old city, in every house you will find 10 talwars, 10 swords, and unofficial pistols. Where are the arms with us? To protect our own बहनों भाइयों को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए। आप यहाँ पर आप मीटिंग रखे सो सर, पूरे बुढ़े लोग ही छमाए। वेयर इज द नौजवान बच्चे? एंड
अमेरिका भेज दिया ना सब।
हाउ? No, we made them secular. We never taught them what is Hinduism, what is Sanatani, and somewhere else some problems.
अबाउट वो बड़े साहब का क्वेश्चन के लिए साहब ने अभी एक आंसर दिए थे, यू डोंट रेस्पेक्ट योर ओन पेरेंट्स, लीव अलोन अर्चकास। अभी जो आपने बोला वो सही है। पुलिस का काम क्या है? लॉ एंड ऑर्डर संभालना। उनके लोग 1000 लोग आ जाते, पुलिस थाने को आग लगा देते। आप लोग के पिताजी नहीं जाता उसको छुड़ाने के लिए, क्यों? द फॉल्स ईगो। लेट अस कम आउट ऑफ इट। घर वाले बाजू वालों को पहचानो, पहले उनसे दोस्ती करो, सब इकट्ठा होने का प्रयत्न करो। दैट इज विथ अस। लीडरशिप वहीं से आएगी, बाहर से कहीं से नहीं आएगी, अपने घर के बाजू से ही आएगी। This is my question to get united. Thank you.
I have a little. Yeah, can I? I just want to just add 2 minutes of my talk to the. So whatever just yeah. My name is Dayanand Arya. So I just wanted to just add to what the plight of the friend which has spoken on behalf of the old city, the state of affairs is happening there. So I just want to go back to the history. It's about, and I don't mention particularly about 10 years, 20 years. If you look into the history of Hindu society, we can make out, I'll just start with Andhra Pradesh.
I'm sorry, but we really don't have that much time. So if there are
2 minutes,
any
you
questions,
don't have time?
no,
2 minutes?
You're going into history in 2 minutes?
No, 2 minutes, I'll just conclude. I just said 2 minutes only.
Okay, question. If you have a question, yeah.
2 minutes, I said. So if you could all over, yeah. So you see in Andhra Pradesh, in Telangana, when Nizam was ruling, this is a very important point. Total Brahmins, I don't talk about the caste. You know, the true Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, which we have spoken about, all those people were migrated to either Andhra Pradesh or Maharashtra or rest of the states. This is a small example. I'm not saying that the Brahmins existed in Telangana are not Brahmins. No. That's so the central idea is this has been existing since ages. So, as I'm coming to the present right now, the state of affairs was there since so many. The 1% what we are talking, the Sanatani will remain. And what happens for now the states, every state occupies which country they have to go. This is the blatant reality which India is going to face. This is my addition, that's it, not question.
Yeah, thank you. I would once again like to reiterate, Hindus are not going anywhere. This is our land. We are staying here. If anything, somebody else will go. Let us not reinforce this thought that Hindus are going out of this land. This is your land. This is your nation. You will prevail. Okay? Let us not even put that thought anywhere.
Yeah, good evening.
Bhavik ji, please, just a question because we have to wind up.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, good evening. Dr. Rajabhamik here. This is just a rejoinder to one of the gentlemen who told that our future generation doesn't know history. And until and unless we know our own history, we will not be able to defend what we are all about. This is just to let you know that I think already Chaudhary Saab and Monica Reddy Madam, they are aware. I have written a book which actually details the Indian history over the last 100 years. It is an untold story in which every aspect of the freedom struggle, including the role of the revolutionaries, have been mentioned. And also to underline the fact what amount of torture the non-Muslims have undergone during the course of partition, starting from the Great Calcutta killings, that also has been mentioned. So if you read a book, if you read that book, then each of us will be aware of the things that we are coming from and what we must now do to actually ensure that those things are taken care of. I'm very
Thank
much
you.
thankful for that time.
I just had to say this to आप जो ओल्ड सिटी से आए हैं, क्योंकि मैं आपको अगर हम आपकी बात सुन के आपको इसी तरह से जाने दें तो हम उन लोगों में से वही हैं जो बार बार इस आपको अकेला छोड़ रहे हैं. आप मेरे से बिल्कुल मिलिएगा और हम बिल्कुल उस लड़के को बाहर लेकर आएंगे. ओके, दैट्स अ वर्ड. All right, and I think that is what we all have to do. I think time to talk is stop, time for action is long, long, long demanding.
Yeah, I'm Anand Seth, an advocate by profession. My question is a semi-rhetorical question, sir, but still I want to get the take of the four people on the dais. Indian reaction to Canada was very swift and severe. What stopped Indian government to react in the same way against Qatar, from where all the backlash against Nupur Sharma started? What stopped us from being as swift and severe against Qatar or that so-called OIC world? And what made us to silence our own people who were actually speaking the truth? This is a semi-rhetorical question, sir, but still I would like to have your take.
I'll have Raviji.
I think before that, I'll try to answer your question. Let's not be very caste shy. And casteism, it has been, I'm sorry, it has been projected that it is the root cause of all the problems. But I believe it is other way around. There is a difference between unity and uniformity. Every caste is doing their own and their specialization. If we call it in modern terms, that is division of labor. When we call it division of labor, it is a very well accepted word. Since we are short of time, it's you are advocate, and if your son he decides to be a doctor, okay, he has got every right to be a doctor, and doctor's son has also got every right to become an advocate. That's there. But if your son continues the legacy, a child which is born to a wrestler family, who have been wrestler for say 10 generations, he is automatically better wrestler. DNA has developed like this, and there's nothing bad about it unless there's discrimination. So there's difference between unity, uniformity, and discrimination. So casteism is something that has helped us throughout the ages. Had there been one caste, and then there in that case there would have been one surrender, all Islamization. Yeah. Well, we all know it's very difficult for us to take anybody with the name Ahmad or with the name Muslim or with the name Islam, we just can't take it. I mean, head-to-head collision, we just can't collide. That way, Canada is a soft state. In that way, they are not going to, well, come and bomb for this thing. And that is what we are afraid of some Muslim states. That is, everybody knows that. There's nothing hidden about it. So, and there's a lot of other things involved. Let's keep it for some other time.
About Nupur Sharma, there is a policy for every government. दूर का फायदा, नजदीक का नुकसान. Long-term profit and like short-term loss. So Modi government has taken that short-term loss so as to gain a long-term. But Qatar was punished when we stopped buying the gas from them. We immediately took it from Russia, and the Arab countries were begging on their knees, "Humse kharido." It was done, and Nupur Sharma is now getting positioned to be the chief ministerial candidate of Delhi. So it's not that they have just punished her; they are grooming her up for the betterment.
We'll hope this, sir. I'm just trying to come to what Madam has said, that it's time for action, and also Chowdhury sir, who said that religious congregations, etc. So where I'm coming to, उनके पास कुछ झगड़ा होगा, 1000 लोग 100 लोग तैयार हो जाएंगे. अपने पास क्या है, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है. So who would be taking the responsibility of creating a community level Sena kind of a thing, self-sufficient? How do we do that? Will RSS take the responsibility of meeting in religious congregations and getting at least the groups ready? How do we make ourselves ready for this kind of a thing? WhatsApp groups, somebody who can help in this particular area. How do we get into action is the question. Yes.
The reason why I say it is because I believe in action, and I actually act. So my point is that don't wait for anybody to act. You act, because nobody is going to support you. I have zero support. Meaning to say, my parents, my family, everybody's written me off. They think one fine day that I will be found somewhere, either whatever or whatever, fill up the blanks. But that's okay, no? If I have to go, I have to go. And if I have to go in a certain way, then I have to go in a certain way. Nothing will stop that. So I think you have to build that raw courage to stand up for what you believe in. And right now, what we lack as people is that raw courage. And that is what the Israelis have. They're a small people, they're a small group of people, but they are the ones who are ruling the world. And the reason why they're ruling the world is, of course, because they have the brains, the intellect, the business acumen, the hard work that they put in. But more than that, they have faith in themselves and they will fight it through. And I think that's what we have to do. We also have numbers on our side, which they don't. I mean to say, the Israelis don't. So I think we have to have faith in ourselves, confidence, and do what you can do. Like, there's a call for help here in this room. We have to find out how many people will get out of this room and offer help. We're not helping him. We're helping that boy who probably stood up for his own religion, but nobody supported him. We have Ashish standing right behind you. This gentleman is taking on the church mafia across the city, and he's getting he's been attacked. He's getting all kinds of threats. Incidentally, I'm also getting threats, but that's okay. I keep reporting to the cybercrime. That's another thing. They also don't do anything, but that's okay. I mean, I think it's about not living in fear. It's as simple as that.
For that particular question asked by the young lady, that I just wanted to narrate the incident related to Sikh community, which I think probably very appropriate this time. when atrocities on the Kashmiri Pandit was at peak, and they formed a jatha and approached our ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. At that particular time, our 10th Guru, would be 10th Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was hardly 9 years old. And he was sitting on the lap of his father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji Maharaj. And when Kashmiri Pandit narrated what happened and how Aurangzeb and their army are forcing them to convert to Islam, then you say was, Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj was hardly 9 years old, and he said, we have to give a great sacrifice for this. And then Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji asked, who will be there? So the son said to his father, you, I think probably you are the person, you are the person who have to give the sacrifice. Then on his call, he went to Delhi, and where Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's head was beheaded. And there is a long story after that, I think, history. So you have to take example. If you go read the history, Sikh history, all the invader, all the kind of thing, where Guru Tegh Bahadur, Guru Gobind Singh Maharaj, four sons who sacrificed Sarvan Shidani, what we call Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, who has sacrificed his entire family, mother, father, wife, four children. That is the kind of sacrifice they did for their religion. Now, Sikh, I think probably a proud Sikh, standing. Who will come? Who will protect? You know, you have to come. This feeling should come from your own within. The two young son who was दीवार में चुनवा दिए गए, they were hardly 7 and 9 years old. Todermal, who have purchased the land for the cremation, that was the costliest land ever sold in the world history, where Asharvis were late to buy that 4 feet by 4 feet land. And when Todermalji was laying the Asharfis, the king there said, you don't lay the Asharfi, you make the Asharfi stand. And Todermal did the same. After purchasing the land, he has no money to pay for the cremation to take the carnage, then he himself and his wife, they perform the entire ceremony. We have to take example from the history and be ready to give our own hand to save our country. Thank you.
Very briefly, very briefly,
Sir.
caste someone was raising that we are divided and all. Yeah.
Okay, Vivekaru, please. Yes.
There is a wonderful book by Rajiv Malhotra ji, just about 100 and plus pages. It's very simply written in, even a 10th class student can also understand. It busts lots of misconceptions about the caste system and all. So the title of the book is Varna, Jati and Caste. It's a book by Rajiv Malhotra ji, Infinity Foundation. No sociologist has done a better job than Rajiv Malhotra. I would strongly recommend all sitting here, please take your time off and please read that book. It's very insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, just a last question, please. Okay. Well said. I think we should call it a day. I thank all the speakers on the dais today, Dr. Chaudhary, Ravi Ranjanji, and Rambabu Garu. We had a great discussion. A lot of these discussions need a lot of time, but the thought is to stand together and put our heads on some important pieces. And I think today we have been able to do that. On behalf of all of us here today, I would like to conclude by saying that we stand in solidarity with Israel, the people of Israel, and not just as Indians, but as Hindus too. And we hope that whenever the Hindu civilization needs the Israelis and the Jewish civilization to stand by them, they will. They already are. And I think we are both together fighting a civilizational and existential war, and we stand by each other for that. We condemn violence of any kind. We condemn violence and terror of any kind. This country has suffered a lot because of terror, and especially Islamic terror. And I think that the world has to unite to stop this kind of terror, to ensure that peace prevails in this world. We will rise for the national anthem and conclude for today. Thank you all for coming today.